And you're watching ZTV on the Higher Learning Network. Put your head right. The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Then book your free 30-minute consultation with Zelda Speaks, the Mindfulness Stress Relief Coach, at higherlearningnetwork.org. Thanks for sharing. Grand Rising, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks, the stressologist. Any stress in your life? Well, most of us do. Unfortunately, we don't know what to do with that stress, especially as it relates to worry. I was once a worried about everything, and I finally figured it out with some training. Yeah, I've been certified with the American Society of Training and Development, National Speakers Association, and a host of others. But none of those organizations helped me stop worrying. They just gave me validation for the public to see what credentials I have. So the credentials I have now are from life experience, and I've learned how not to worry. And you can learn how not to worry too, because it is indoctrinated in us to worry. We don't have the answers, so we think the worst is going to happen. Well, I got a solution to that, and that is the Worry Workshop. So I'm going to pull that up for you on my blog. Why do you worry when you don't have to? Go to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, and you can sign up right there and find out how you. And remember, sharing is caring. If you care about yourself and your loved ones, help them see their way out of a mess. Give them the gift. It makes a great birthday gift. It makes a great holiday gift. So instead of running to the store getting something that they really might not need, give them a worry-free life. Give them the gift of a worry-free existence. And thanks for sharing. Make it a great day. Ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit zeldaspeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moments tip of the day. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on Higher Learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening. Grand Rising, and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Monday Morning Mindfulness on the Female Solution. We're just here to start your day off right with the Higher Learning Network and Monday Morning Mindfulness Meditation. Meditation coming up at 7:15, so be sure and text, send somebody a notice and let them know they're about to have an experience this morning. It's Monday. Excuse me. And all the chaos that is going on in the community, we need some me time before we get started with everything. So that's what this is about this morning. Today's topic is police misconduct and what we can do about it. And we'll be joined by the 2nd District Counselor, Julie Kline. She'll be joining us in the 7:30 hour. So stay tuned. Send somebody a text, call, let them know you need to hear this today. And if you are joining us online, thank you so much on our YouTube and Facebook channel, Higher Learning TV Show. And be sure and check out my Instagram, Zelda Speaks, the number 2 and the letter U. And also there's one to me. Don't ask me how that happened. Anyway, if you're headed out and about today, today's traffic is sponsored by Karen Kelly of itext.com. If you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, and you have products to sell or you want to have products to sell, well, this is an organization that can help you get to the next level. And if you are thinking about it, stop thinking and just join, because you can get a $100 bonus to start shopping right away. And the only catch to that is that you have to mention the promo code, which is ZELDA, Z-E-L-D-A. I always giving thanks to the ancestors who came before me and made my way possible. So be sure and check out Karen Kelly from chicago.itext.com, and be sure and tell her Zelda sent you. Yeah, so that you can get that $100 and go shopping for whatever you need. And that's on me. All right, if you're headed out and about today, just know that it is your regularly Monday morning madness, and it is lots of chaos out there going on. Trust me when I tell you. We start with weather for today. Low in the 60s, sunshine, up to 63 today. Yay! But it's still, you need a sweater or a jacket, so don't get too happy about that. Clear skies, temperatures dropping down to the 40s tonight, 30s overnight as usual. You know, it is November. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays back up into the 60s. And as we take a look at the expressways, it is horrible, as it usually is on a Monday morning. It's a parking lot on the Kennedy, and almost an hour inbound due to a restaurant fire that was shut down at Fullerton and Lincoln. So you want to avoid that area if you can at all. An hour inbound, and outbound is 30 minutes. As we take a look at the Edens, not so bad, 24 in, 20 out. On the Eisenhower, that's a whole other story. There's a crash at Sacramento. That has been cleared, but there's a 4 to 5 car crash, and it's going to cost you an hour drive. So you take the street if you pass Harlem. Don't even go anywhere near it. Yep, that's over an hour. On the Stevenson, 24 in, 21 out. On the Dan Ryan, 27 in. You're slow at 35th to the loop. 13 minutes on the reverse. On the Bishop Ford, it's 11 inbound, 10 on the reverse. And DuSable, Lakeshore Drive, it is 10 minutes inbound and 9 minutes on the reverse. And that's your traffic and weather, sponsored by Karen Kelly of itext.com. And if you want to go anywhere in the world, Jamaica, the Caribbean, Mexico, Vegas, anywhere, you can go, because we're about to go to Jamaica. Remember last month I said broadcasting live from Jamaica, Georgia? I've always wanted to go to Jamaica because there's so many medicinal herbs there for whatever ails you. I want to be in the place where that stuff is grown. So You can go to Jamaica, anywhere, but you got to use that promo code ZELDA, ZELDA. Alrighty, Kate, if you need extra income, and this is the place to do it. So if you are also watching television, which most of us are, you can go to set those DVRs for Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19 to see the Higher Learning Network TV show and things that you may not see here on the internet. Not everything makes it to the internet. So that's why we have Channel 19. And if you are out and about, it really does make a difference. Before you go, I want to give you the word for the day. And that is taken from Dara Lynn sent us something today. And I just thought that was so sweet. Thank you, Dara Lynn. And Dara Lynn says, where did it go? I just had it here. Dara Lynn. Oh, there you are. From Peter 2:15 and 16. For so it is the will of God that ye with well doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God. Thank you, Daryl and Kelly. We appreciate that. That is your word for the day. As we remind you to, if you're listening online, now's the time that we take the time to go within and prepare for our day, because most of us just get up and just run out the door. That's not what we want to do. We want to spend some time with self, with our higher power, that which came to connect us to that which we are to do here on the planet. Excuse me. So this is the time that we take to say thank you to those who came before us and made our way possible. So what I ask you to do is to simply sit up straight in your chair, prepare for a moment of quiet. And we do that by simply breathing in and breathing out. It's just that simple. That's why it's called stress relief. We often look to something to put in our mouths when we're stressed out. Coffee, tea, whatever. Cookie, donut, pie, cigar. And that's temporary. What I'm about to give you is always indefinitely working. So we're going to begin the process of breathing. Simply breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in through the nose. Because I want you to feel your chest expand. And in that breathing, you will have an experience that you have not had before, because they don't teach us how to breathe. You only learn that in yoga or somewhere where someone is concerned about your well-being. But today, I thought about the one thing that I sometimes forget to do, and that is to calm the spirits down and use essential oils. Now, I've got to thank my girl, Karen McCoo, who first introduced me to essential oils, my media instructor who taught me how to edit, how to produce a show, and my girlfriend, Jody Susan of Susan Essentials, who is a connoisseur of oils, and she teaches that. So be sure and tune in tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and she will share with you many of those oils. But I'm going to share with you right now this one that I use, peppermint oil. It's just one. I have many. I'll show you one every week, a different one. But this is peppermint oil. So just it's very concentrated, so you don't need a lot. Just take a drop. See that drop? Bam. Just one drop. You can take two if you want, but I take one. And I rub it in my hands, and guess what I do? Oh my goodness, does that open you up? Peppermint. Yes. Yes. Peppermint. Any congestion, anything going on here, it's so healing. You know, you used to wonder why grandma used to keep peppermint in her purse. Now you know. You can't inhale a peppermint. You got to chew that one. But let's breathe in together. Oh, I feel all of that. And I hope you feel the energy. It feels so good. As we inhale. Oh, giving thanks for the power of the breath. Divine order is who and what we are experiencing today. And we exhale. Woo! Yes, Lord. One more. Inhale. And exhale. And just sit with that breath for a moment to see what it feels like. To remind yourself, this is what you can feel like when you're attacked all of a sudden. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Anytime somebody comes into your space and they're hollering and screaming at you or whatever, you just simply and blow it out through your mouth. And I promise you, they're going to look at you like you done lost your last man. But that's okay, because it got them away from you. So as we continue breathing in and breathing out, you'll hear this sound. And that is the sound to keep you, to remind you that you're all those thoughts that are floating in your to-do list, and you got to get here, you got to get there, and you got to get to work, take care of the kids, get to school. All of that stuff can wait, because right now, it's your time. Let me hear you say my time. You like my time? There you go. So this is what you will hear as we breathe in. And stretch those arms. Ooh, and rotate those shoulders. And ooh, that feels good. Backwards and forward as we breathe in. And as we breathe out. If you are doing this with me, you will feel a sensation in your body like no other. So that's why we continue to breathe in. And breathe out. Giving thanks. Continue to breathe in and breathe out without me. Just breathe. Giving thanks for the power of the breath. Because someone, somewhere, may have respiratory issues, cannot even breathe on their own, may have a trachea or something in their throat. And look at you, breathing on your own. Go. Let's continue to breathe. Breathe in. And breathe out. As you continue breathing in and breathing out, breathe in. Bring all of that energy from the breath up to the top of the forehead, down through the face. As the breath lands on the shoulders, as we breathe in. And as we breathe out and rotate those shoulders, as we breathe in. And turn it to the right. And feel that stress. Yeah, feel that stress. Your inner organs love it, and blow it out. Breathe in. Turn to the side. And feel another stretch. Oh, yeah, that stretch feels good. Oh, see, I got a high back chair back here, so I got my arm up here. You don't have to have a high back chair. Just turn around and stretch. Just give the body, the inner organs, a little washing this morning. Breathing in, breathing out, and just moving as we breathe in. Hold it. And blow it out. As we breathe in. Taking all the energy of the breath, bringing it down through the throat and the chest and the sides and the back and the buttock as we breathe out. And as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the hips and the thighs and the knees and any part of your body that speaks to you that says, maybe a little bit out balance. I got a little pain here. It's a signal that something is out of balance. And my knees speak to me quite often. That's why I walk. Your knees hurt, just walk on them as much as you can, or lay on your back and move them up in the air. Because as a senior, as citizens of this country and other countries, whatever countries you're in, we have a tendency, because computers are so popular, we sit all day. Not healthy. Get up every hour. I had to have a chiropractor tell me that after I couldn't walk. So breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out, sending more love, light, and energy down through the legs and the ankles and the arches and the instep and the heel and the toes. Yes, got breath all the way down there. As we breathe in, bringing the energy of the feet back up through the ankles and the legs and the knees and the thighs. As we breathe in, and as we breathe out, giving thanks that the air from our lungs is moving throughout our body, bringing it back up to the chest and the shoulders. That's just where we often hold stress. And that's why we take these fingers here and we simply massage those muscles because the tension has been set. And it's a challenge to dissolve that tension. But if you massage back there, you don't have to wait to go to a massage therapist. You can massage yourself, okay? So just with your fingers, just like that, just knead. And then the back of your neck as you continue to breathe in. And as you breathe out, massage the back of the neck. Just run up and down the back of your neck, just like that. Just give that vagus nerve some love. Go up back up to the top of your scalp, to the back of your scalp, and just give it some love. Yeah, just do all of that and just love on yourself this morning as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, we give thanks for the power of the breath because it is the breath that will keep us in times of chaos and confusion because there's a lot of that going around. And you don't have to be fully affected by it. You can hear it, see it, but not taste it. Because what? You're breathing in. See, this is the armor. The breath is armor. The late beloved poet, actress, author, film director, dancer, phenomenal woman, Dr. Maya Angelou says, before you face the day, face God. Face the spirit that is within you that will guide you, guard you, and protect you. Despite what these lying eyes see. That's why we do what? We breathe in. Oops. We breathe in. And we breathe out. We breathe in. And we breathe out. As we take the energy of the breath and focus it on the parts of our body that's talking to us. I'm so wonderfully blessed this morning that nothing is talking to me. No part is talking to me. I feel so good because that's what the breath does. It energizes you. And this peppermint, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just activated the happiness gene. You see, because on 11/11, a few days ago, there was a portal that was open. And I had an experience that I didn't even know I had. I was doing my affirmations. I write them and I say them out loud. And one of those affirmations is, I am joy. I am joyful. I am joyous. And all of a sudden, I started smiling. And I couldn't figure out why I was smiling. Well, you see, there's a connection between the fingers and pencil or ink pen and paper. And that connection sent signals to my brain that I was actually happy. And it can happen to you too. So this is why I always tell you to write things down. But see, because they've got us on these computers. Shh, don't tell nobody. They got us on these computers and we're on them 24/7. And the synapses, the synchronicity cannot happen on a computer. It has to be from what the hand, There's veins and messages and blood, and it's all running through your hands, and it travels up your arm and goes to the brain, and you wonder why you feel so good, because you just gave your body the signal to feel good. You just gave your body, just by simply writing, I am joy, I am joyous, I am joyful. Try that. Don't believe me. Don't, as a matter of fact, don't believe nothing I say. See for yourself, and you will see a difference in the type of experience you will have on a day-to-day basis. Yep, I said it and I meant it, and you can quote me on it. Nah, don't believe me. Just try it. As you inhale and as you exhale. As we give thanks for the power of the breath that can take us anywhere we want to be in life. But it all begins with the breath. So thank you for participating with me this day with the breath, because the breath will keep you out of harm's way. So that's something that you can try on your own. And that is something that I would like for you to share as well, because sharing is caring. And if you care enough for those who are in your life who can make a difference, and those who are in your life who can make a difference, I hope you care enough to share it, because sharing is caring. And when you care about yourself, you care about others, you want to do the right thing. And the right thing is always doing what the Creator has assigned you to do. And that is your Monday morning mindfulness meditation. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And I do hope that you will share this with someone, because 9 times out of 10, before the day is over, somebody's going to come into your space, your peaceful arena with self, and they're going to try and disturb you. And all you have to do is breathe. Just start breathing. They're going to look at you like you lost your last man. But that's okay, because you know the secret. And the secret is just simply keep breathing. And you can check that out and more on my Instagram page, Zelda Speaks, or Zelda Speaks Mindfulness, either one of those. And you can always get updates on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. And it is, looking at the comments this morning, Grand Rising Ageless Beauty. See you at 8:30. All right. You might be seeing me at 8 o'clock, because Julia thought it was a 30-minute interview. So be prepared. Anyway, thank you so much. And wherever you're watching from, you can say hi, good morning, this grand rising this morning as well, because we are always happy to see you, and happy for you to share this information with someone, because not everybody is at peace. There's a lot of chaos and confusion that's going on in the world, and we don't have to be a part of it. And speaking of what's going on in the world, I want to share with you one of the projects that we're working on for the homeless. And also we're celebrating what is it? Veterans Day. Couldn't even remember the words. Veterans Day, because many of our veterans are still being disrespected today in this climate in which we live. Veterans are still being disrespected and not given what they should be given, what they're entitled to. So if you go to my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com, you'll see Victorious Veterans Day. And I just wanted to salute the veterans who have come before us and made our way possible. So you will see that there, and many other resources of information that is available to you. Okay. Alrighty, so if you are watching this morning and you would like to join the conversation, we will be joined by Julie Kline, and she will be joining us. And before we do that, let me show you one of the projects that we're working on, and which we ask that you participate in, because we can't do it alone. We cannot do it alone. And when we go out to do the work that we have been assigned to do, we ask that you share this information. And this information is right here. Nope, that's still the blog. That's not the one that I want. Let me pull this out and pull it back in. You know that in 2019, 18 or 19, I can't remember, my little brother Douglas Robinson was murdered in Tent City, and all the homeless people, unhoused people, came to his memorial, and we were just so touched. I was touched. So this is some of the work that we do by helping feed and clothe the homeless, and I hope that you will do your part in helping feed and clothe the homeless. So you don't have to have a lot of money, but you do need some resources. So some water, peanut butter jelly, some food in the bottom of the peanut butter. Yeah, not many of them out here today, so we're gonna go to another location. We have several locations. And give them some more food. So thank you for sharing it. Thank you for caring. And that's the appreciate you. Right the drive. Excuse me. And then there's a lower. Right, we're at our second stop here, and Tony is getting more goodies out of the way, more peanut butter and jelly and bread and snacks and water and all that good stuff that you all keep donating. We're at our second location, which is right down here on the Wacker Drive. Hey, baby, how you doing? Got some snacks for y'all today. And if you want to make some donations, they're right down here on the lower Wacker Drive. They always need water and food, so bring it down. You have some extra food in the house, bring it on down. Everybody needs water. Thank you for sharing this video. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you for your donations, because they always, always, always need water. Always need water. And it seems that something is, yeah, they always need water. So just know that. So thank you for sending those donations in to the Higher Learning Network. It is a nonprofit organization, and it is tax deductible. You'll be glad to know that. And one of the benefits from it being tax deductible is you can take advantage of this. And this is how we show our appreciation. Yep. Tax deductible donations. Those are some of the t-shirts that you can get when you donate. So feel free to go to higherlearningnetwork.org, higherlearningnetwork.org. Forgive me for that. And make your tax deductible donation, and you see what we do with the food. The food, some of that food was donated. The fruit was donated by EAAChicago.org. and the Chicago Food Depository. And congratulations to our youth who participate in the Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest. And here's how your team.
Hey there, talented teens. Are you ready to showcase your skills and potentially win cash prizes and scholarships? We're excited to announce our Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest, where you can enter by submitting a 1-minute video of your unique talent. Here's how to participate. 1. Record a 1-minute video of yourself performing your talent. 2. Share the video on TikTok. Include the hashtag Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest. 3. Tag 3 friends who also have amazing talents. Submit your video by the deadline. We can't wait to see all of the amazing talents that you have to offer. Remember to be creative and have fun with it. The top talents will be selected by a panel of judges and will be announced shortly after. So don't wait, start filming, and good luck.
That's right. Teens who are between the ages of 13 and 19 can send your 1-minute video clip via YouTube. You need a YouTube link. Do not send us an MOV file. Send us a YouTube link, and you can participate. Ages 13 through 19, send it to hlntvshow@gmail.com, and your youth can participate in the contest as well. And congratulations also to our students at the Betty Shabazz International Charter School, which you can see them on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. And we'll be back to tell you more about that and Julie Kline coming up.
Everything you need, what your body needs, is found in nature. So Tucson Essentials doesn't do it any other way. Tucson Essentials provides your employees and individuals access to over 20,000 nutritional products, and they are shipped direct to your door. Because Tucson Essentials is certified in plant-based healing, we're permitted to offer you the best nutritional supplements on the planet. They're non-GMO and sustainably produced, and we take the guesswork out for you. Let Tucson Essentials help you take control of your health today. Do you worry about finances, family, health, job, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answered yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down-to-earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul, whether you want to learn how not to worry with it, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. Take advantage of the deal of the day. Go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com.
Grand Rising. And thank you for joining us back here on The Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network TV show, which airs Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19 and 24/7 on the World Wide Web. But right now, this is the moment that you've been waiting for. Our guest has arrived. Her name is Julia Kline. She is a dynamic, passionate leader who spent the last 15 years as a self-employed consultant and coach, supporting leaders and the small to mid-sized organizations they run to become more effective. That's her day job. Her passion since 2016 has been community organizing and local progressive politics. She co-founded an organization in 2020 called Neighbors Who Vote, whose mission is a civic engagement through educational forums and events, as well as voter registration. She was elected in February of this year as a police district counselor for Chicago's 2nd Police District, covering the South Side communities of Bronzeville and Hyde Park. Her personal slant on the work is to focus public's attention on the skyrocketing cost of police misconduct settlements. In so doing, she aims to build the political will to take on the FOP and the changes the financial incentive bill into their contract, okay, as a way of finally trying to get the police accountability that every other effort has largely failed at. Excuse me. She created a podcast about restorative justice, and the workplace was called Solving Me Too, and wrote the Amazon bestseller, The Entrepreneur's Guide to Sleaze-Free Selling. I loved it. She has lived in Hyde Park since 2019. She's the author. She goes, the author of the bestseller, Sleaze-Free Selling. I just love that. You can find it on Amazon. Neighbors Who Vote. She's the co-founder. You can follow that NWV on Instagram, and Police District Counselor, 2nd District. You can visit the website. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our very own Chicagoan, Miss Julie Kline. Welcome to the show, Julie. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning.
Thank you, Zelda. Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to be here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Appreciate the work that you are doing, because somebody's got to do something. We just can't keep talking about it and expect it to happen. We've got to do the work. So you are here to show us how to do the work. And we are most appreciative, because we're tired of being mishandled because of their misconduct. How did this all come about for you?
Well, there's a near-term version and a long-term version. And the near-term version is that when I moved to Hyde Park, I got involved with Indivisible Chicago South Side. And one of the co-directors of that group is a good friend of mine. Her name is Terry Watkins, and she was very involved with CARPER, which is the Chicago Alliance Against Racism and Political Repression. I think that's how the acronym goes. Mm-hmm. And they were one of the organizations that was one of the leading forces behind trying to get this ECPS law passed that even created my position in the first place. So she invited me to help her do flyers to help this. And I said, absolutely. Okay. So I got involved there. And then on one of the calls, the leader of that effort, Frank Chapman, expressed a concern that perhaps we might find ourselves with not enough community members running for these positions, which would result in having potentially result in having FOP members, representatives of the police union, the fraternal order, running for these positions that were meant to be for the community. And basically on a public call, I committed to running if nobody else stepped up. Then when it actually got time to run, 10 different people had submitted petitions. And so I thought, well, gosh, if there's 10 people doing this, I guess maybe I should bow out. And I had a conversation with Frank about it. And he said, I think you should run. I think everybody should run. Okay. And I also reached out to a number of leaders in my community, Black leaders, and said, is this an appropriate thing for me to do? And every one of them said, yeah, Julia, you've been putting in the work. You're a powerful voice. We need your allyship in this fight. And ultimately, only 4 of us made the ballot. So if I hadn't run, the voters wouldn't have really had a choice, because 3 of us were elected after all.
So this voter situation here, this was within the confines of that organization, correct?
This voter situation, what do you mean?
When they voted you in?
That was on the ballot. That was on the same ballot where you voted for mayor and alderperson.
Oh, was it? I don't even.
Oh, yeah.
remember. I don't even remember that. Okay.
Well, that's part of the problem. A whole lot of people all around the city have no idea that this even existed. You know, there was almost nothing on the television news, and lots of local podcasts and local papers like the Chicago Reader did a great job of trying to cover this. The Block Club Chicago covered it, but still, lots and lots and lots of Chicagoans had no idea this was happening.
Oh my goodness. So the damage that's being done behind the scenes, it just keeps being done because we aren't aware of it and we can't voice it because we don't know.
Exactly. And, you know, at this point, there's nothing for members of the public to do because, I mean, district councilors have been elected, you know, and I shouldn't say there's nothing for members of the public to do. That's what I mean is in terms of electing people, because the next election won't be for another 4 years. But now what's needed is for members of the public to attend their local district council meetings and voice their concerns about police reform. And I'll make the clarification that a lot of people who come to our meetings anyway are people who are concerned about loitering or carjacking, and they have the misunderstanding that they should come to us for that. And that's something that you need to talk to your CAPS meeting about. I mean, that's a policing issue, and we're not here to, you know, to handle that kind of thing, like, you know, loitering and carjacking. Rather, we're here to receive complaints about police misconduct. And you know, for better or for worse, at least in our district, there are the people who've been coming to our meetings so far say that they don't see a lot of police. They acknowledge that police misconduct used to be a big problem, but they don't see a lot of it now.
Oh.
So the problem, you know, we need to reach more members, because I know that police misconduct is still going on. Of course it is.
And it will continue to go on until we demand that it does not.
Yeah, and I think the single biggest piece of evidence that there is still police misconduct going on is the fact that the police department in the city of Chicago is 94% out of compliance with the consent decree that we are currently operating under. And I don't know if your listeners know that 5 years ago, the Department of Justice did an investigation into the Chicago Police Department and the city of Chicago, and it ultimately resulted in a consent decree that is now being overseen by an independent monitor. And there are, I don't know how many paragraphs, several hundred paragraphs that specifically outline the abuses and the racism and the misconduct built into the Chicago Police Department, and it gives specific recommendations for how the police department is supposed to fix those. And we are only we meaning the city of Chicago, which represents the police department, are only in full compliance with 6% of those hundreds of paragraphs. We're 94% out of compliance, and it's been 5 years.
Oh my goodness! So that shows us they have no intentions of being compliant.
Right.
None whatsoever. So,
and of course they say the opposite, right? They, we're working so hard, we're under-resourced, COVID. Come on. No, you don't intend to fix this.
No, because it doesn't take 5 years to fix anything.
Right.
It can be done systematically over 5 years is really long enough to have this problem no longer be a problem. It really is. So the next thing is, how do we get the general public involved, and not only verbally, but physically? What are some of the things that we can do that's already in place, or things that need to be put in place where we can hold them accountable for the misconduct?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, attend your district council meeting. And so around the city, there are 22 police districts, and those police districts have been in existence for I don't know how long. And there's 22 of them around the city. And every single police district is now represented by a police district council. Okay. And in all but one of those districts, there's 3 of us, 3 counselors. And all of us are required by law to hold a monthly public meeting. And there's a website, and unfortunately, it's a very, very long. It's not something cute like ChicagoPoliceDistricts.com.
Okay.
The city of Chicago, blah 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 blah. Right. So I'll give it to you, and you can share it with your listeners.
Okay.
And the notices of public meeting for all 22 districts are on that website. The time engagement, and by law it's required. So people need to find their police district council meetings and go and every meeting is required to have public comment. And so you go and make public comment and hold your police district counselors, let your police district counselors know what you want them to be doing and what you see in terms of police misconduct that's going on in the city.
I just got a text from one of our loyal listeners, Elder Baba Kwame Sunhorse sent this. Thank you, Baba Kwame. And he says, since the early 2000s, thousands of U.S. police officers, sheriffs, Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, and FBI agents have trained with Israeli military and police forces. The ADL, that's the Anti-Defamation League, National Counterterrorism Seminar, brought us U.S. law enforcement agents to visit checkpoints in military prisons and introduce them to Israel officials at other sites of apartheid and racial profiling, such as the illegal settlement in Hebron and Ben Gurion Airport. I'll post all of that information on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. And that is taken from the Jewish Voice for Peace. And there's just so much information here. I'll share it. It's a little bit too much, but not too much, but just for right now. But I'll share more of that on my blog. But knowing that there are monthly, we didn't even know this, that there are monthly notices for these public meetings in which our voices can be heard, just like at city council. We know about that, but we didn't know about this. I certainly didn't know about, but I heard about it. Let me correct that. I heard about it when the mayor election was going on, because when Dr. Willie Wilson was running, that was one of the things that he was very adamant about, is not just having a few, but having that available to everyone. So I knew a little, but not a lot enough to take actions and to share this information with others. So you will text me the website.
Yes.
Tell me the website, and I can share that, because if we don't, it's just a matter of time before it happens to one of us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember the lady where they accidentally raided the wrong house, a Black woman, and she was standing in front of the cameras butt naked. Then they didn't even have the decency to throw a robe or towel or something around her. It's that kind of inhumane treatment that takes us in that direction. So I asked myself the question, what are they training them in the training sessions to be inhumane?
Yeah, that's when we talk about police reform, that's a topic that gets a lot of attention, like, oh, we just need to do better training. And I disagree. And the reason that I disagree is because, first of all, training is one of the most expensive things that we do. And with all the money that we've been spending on training for so many years, it has not moved the needle an iota in terms of how police act. And the second thing the reason why I don't think we need to pour more resources into training is because as soon as police officers leave the academy and they get out on the street, they get partnered up with an officer who's been out here for 20, 25, 30 years. And that officer says, oh, forget everything you just learned at the academy.
Yes.
I'm going to show you how we really do it.
Yes.
So this notion of, oh, let's just spend a lot more money on training them, that's ridiculous. I mean, think to yourself, if whatever your profession is, you probably sat through a bunch of training before you entered your profession. And whether that was just that you went to college or if you went through an orientation at your job, how much of what you learned is actually what you do on your job? And how interested are you at this point? Let's imagine at this point that you are 10 years, 15 years into your job. How eager are you to go back and have some consultant put you through 2 days of training about how to do your job? Exactly. So police are no different.
Right.
Police are, and listen, I sound like I'm very, some people accuse me of sounding like I am anti-cop, and I am not. I am anti-police abuse.
Thank you.
There are many police officers out here who are deeply committed to keeping their communities safe. And every police officer does risk their lives every day by going out and doing their job. So I'm very much pro those police officers who are doing a good job. And I'm very much pro police officers receiving mental health training. And I'm very much pro police officers being given a reasonable work week and not being asked to work 60, 70 hours a week without any mental health breaks in between and without any time to sit down and debrief with somebody the trauma that they just witnessed on their 3 last calls. You know, that's part of the problem. So I would much rather have us spend money on police therapy than on.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've often wondered, with all the chaos and confusion and trauma that our officers see on a daily basis, how do they simmer? How do they come down from all of that chaos that they have experienced in their job during the course of the day, and they bring that home? How do they calm down without going home and being evil to their children or their companion, whoever that is? How do they? And then you have to process that.
Yeah. And I think that for the most part, they figured out on their own. You know, over the summer, we heard a sweet story. I don't remember which, I don't know if it was Block Club Chicago or which outlet published it, about a police officer who he and his mother garden, and they have this robust garden. And he talked about how it is how he deals with his stress and trauma on the job. And so it was a lovely, sweet story, but, and, you know, good for him. And I'm glad that he's found a way to process that. But, you know, we know for sure that a lot of police officers don't find a way to process the trauma and abuse that they witness on their jobs, for the simple reason that we know that suicide among Chicago police officers is much higher than among the average population.
Yes.
So, you know, and that's a problem.
Yes,
you know?
that's a problem.
Big problem. We need to support those police officers so that they are not having an amount of stress and depression that causes them to take their own lives.
That's right. The people who are protecting us are so stressed out, they're taking themselves out. It's only in America. Julian, we're talking about the trauma. In, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, my sister retired from the Cook County Department of Corrections. But before she left, she told me some horrible stories. But she invited me, one of her supervisors, invited me to speak at the men's training, Cook County Sheriff's training in Maywood, right off of 17th Avenue, something like that. And one of the things that I tried to help them understand, that even though these people are prisoners in jail, that they are still human. And you have to have some humanity when you're talking to people. And just like what you just said, they looked at me and they laughed. I'm thinking to myself, so I'm going to go in here and make a difference? No, that difference has to come from the heart. You can have someone come in and train you 8 hours a day for the rest of your life. If it's not in your heart to be humane, it's not going to happen. And those officers were a prime example. Most of them had been there 15, 20, 30 years, about to retire. And then there were some new ones. And it's like everything you just learned in the academy, throw it out, what you just said.
Yep. The other thing that I think, one of the main things that I'm beginning to advocate for, is that we need to change the financial incentives around police misconduct. The way that it works right now, if a police officer is found wrongful, and I use that sort of wonky word because sometimes it happens in a court of law, sometimes it happens through COPA. You know, there's at this point we've got 6, 8, 10 different alphabet soup agencies that are supposed to be holding police accountable. There's a state decertification board, there's COPA, there's the police board. Anyway, so if in one of these many places, including a court of law, a police officer is found wrongful, what often happens is the person who that police officer harmed turns around and files a civil rights lawsuit against the city.
Yes.
And that results in, on average, for the last 10 or 12 years, we've been spending $50 million a year on settlements for police misconduct. And so while it's been $50 million a year, that number is accelerating rapidly. Under the and Heather Sharon at WTTW just did some fantastic reporting about this, that under Lori Lightfoot's 4 years, compared to Rahm Emanuel's 8 years on a per annum basis, the settlements granted under Lori Lightfoot's administration were both higher dollar and much larger frequency, much greater frequency. Now, that's not a slam on Lori Lightfoot. What it is a statement about what's happening with police settlements. And because we are now living in an era in which everybody has a video camera on their person at all times. And so whereas 20 years ago, police used to be able to get away with this kind of stuff on the regular, now they're getting caught. And they also have body cameras, right? And sometimes they turn them off in ways that they're not supposed to, but there's a lot more video than there used to be. And there's also a whole different expectation out here now about how you can't get away with this. And when you do this harm to me, I'm going to come after you. And and unfortunately, and so now we get into the restorative justice framework, which, and the final step of restorative justice is reparation. And so when we grant a financial settlement to somebody, that's reparation. We're saying, look, we can never undo the harm that was done to you. We certainly can't bring your loved one back if in the tragic case that they were killed, or if you were wrongfully incarcerated for 20 years. We can't give all those birthdays and weddings and everything else back to you. We can't give your life back to you, but here's $20 million. And the problem with that is that is now skyrocketing at a rate that is hard to conceive of. And of course, let me emphasize that the problem of police misconduct is the harm, is what it does to people's lives. That's the problem of police misconduct. However, we don't seem to care about that sufficiently to fix the problem because we haven't. 5 years that we've been out of compliance with this consent decree. So let's talk about the dollars. And maybe by talking about the dollar, because we can be a little bit cynical for a moment, maybe talking about the dollars is what will finally cause people to change their behavior. And what we need to do is, because currently those police settlements get paid by taxpayers. And if instead we changed it so that police officers were required to carry self-insurance, for example, or possibly what would happen if we were to start clawing back their pension? Because what John Burge is probably the most notorious police torturer. He's dead now, but he was a commander who for decades went around with his goons, his police officers, sworn goons, kidnapping and torturing people into false confessions. And we have already paid out some $200 million for him alone. Meanwhile, he collected $1.5 million of pension after his retirement, after these things were all happening. So while we were paying out millions of dollars in settlements, he was still collecting his $4,000 a month in pension. What would happen if we changed the law, which would mean changing the FOP contract, such that you doing stuff like that, we're not paying you your pension?
Right.
So if you want your family to have your pension, you better think twice about what you're doing, my friends.
Right.
Because we're not going to be paying you your pension if we find that you've been out here doing all this kind of stuff to the people of Chicago. So we need to have hearings about this stuff. At the commission, the newly created commission, which is linked to my job, the Community Commission on Public Safety and Administration, Public Safety and Accountability, and also in City Council. We need to have hearings on 3 things. Number 1, How much risk are city taxpayers on the hook for coming up? How we've been paying $50 million a year. I think that we are getting close to paying $500 million per year.
Oh my
But we need to have hearings. How much is it? We need to ask there's a risk manager for the city of Chicago, as well as a risk manager for the police department. How many lawsuits are in the pipeline? And how much are those worth? How much is that going to be costing us? We need to have hearings about that. How much is in the pipeline? How much money is this? Second, we need to have hearings on alternatives that are within the current scope of the police contract. How else? What else can we do other than just make citizens pay for it? And thirdly, we need to have hearings about alternatives that would require a change in the police contract. Things like self-insurance for police, or things like clawbacks of pension in the face of egregious misconduct. Talk about these things. We can no longer, and I need to emphasize that what we're talking about are, for the moment, all I'm talking about are the 100, 200 at the very tippy top of the worst. Because there are several dozen police officers who have gotten multiple dozens of allegations of wrongdoing against them. And the police will say, oh, those are just allegations. Please. If 36 citizens have bothered to call up COPA and say you harmed me,
right,
engaged in unconstitutional policing, you're not doing stuff right.
Right.
And besides that, if the police department's assertion is that these police officers, they did nothing wrong, well, then you need to hurry up and get those officers cleared.
Yes.
And the police department keeps saying, oh, no, we don't have time for that. We can't possibly do these investigations. We don't have the resources for that. Well, find the resources. Because if you don't find the resources, we're going to start clawing back pensions. And then ultimately what we need to do is we need to fire these police officers. There are at least 100 police officers currently carrying a gun and a badge around this city who have been convicted of wrongdoing. And they need to be fired.
Yes, they do. Chicago Tonight repeated misconduct by 116 officers cost taxpayers $91.3 million.
Yep.
And that information, all this information that we're sharing that you don't get, that you may not understand, it will be posted on my blog on zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. It's 8:06, Julia. I know that you have to go, but I want to thank you so very much.
Yeah, this week is the NACOL conference. It's a national police accountability conference that's happening here in Chicago. And
is the general public allowed to attend?
What's that?
Is the general public allowed to attend?
No, it's a conference that, yes, you're allowed to attend. However, registration costs $750.
Okay.
So if you want to spend $750, yes, you can attend. So, wow. Unfortunately, as a police district counselor, the city picked up the cost of my registration ticket. So, I'm going down there. I got to get down there by kickoff time this morning. And the mayor is actually going to be addressing the conference later this afternoon. So,
wonderful. Well, if you'll send me updates on that, I will definitely post it on our blog and on our websites. Thank you so very much, Julia. Kline from the 2nd District Councilor. I had never heard that word before because I was about to correct it and I was like, nah, I saw it in here again twice. And I'm like, that's not a mistake. So you need to confirm with her. So thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Zelda. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. And whenever you have updates, please let us know. Come back and we can talk about it some more, what citizens can do. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We appreciate you and we appreciate all of our listeners who are joining this morning. If you want to, if you have any questions, we'd love to, or comments, out and about with Dave and Daisy. Push for police reform. Most police don't know the U.S. Constitution, which they take an oath to defend and uphold. Yes, you are absolutely right. So thank you for sharing that information here on the Female Solution. We're just a few minutes behind our commercial break. So while we're doing that, if you want to send this link to someone and let them know that we are on until 9 a.m. And we will be sharing more information from our illustrious executive director, Naima Latif of the Female Solution. And you can call in at 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak, and we'll take your calls.
Well, you better figure out who wants the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Would you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
Are you constantly arguing with your spouse? Are your children misbehaving and acting out? Is someone in your family abusing drugs? Have you been the victim of domestic violence? Are you grieving over the loss of a loved one? Let us help you restore serenity to your life. At Serenity Family Social Services, we understand that good mental health is the result of emotional well-being. Our goal is to assist you and your family in removing emotional distress and restoring harmony and balance to your lives. We offer individual, couples, and family counseling. I'm Howard Williams, CEO of Serenity Family Social Services. Call us today at 312-315-4820. That's 312-315-4820.
Do you worry about finances, family, health, job, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answered yes to any of these questions, self-observation. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down-to-earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish your book, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. Take advantage of the deal of the day. Go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Put in promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com. What if you could live to be 120 years old and remain active, healthy, alert, and vibrant? Our bodies are made up of cells that are constantly rejuvenating. So if we take proper care of ourselves, we can literally defy aging. Join us every Tuesday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time to learn about self-care from Tucson Essentials on the Female Solution Blog Talk Radio Show. Learn how to help your body and your cells feel rejuvenated each day through proper nutrition, sleep, frequency medicine, and many unconventional methods of self-care. I'm Jody Susan. Join me and my amazing guests by calling in at 515-605-9325 and press 1 to speak. We'll help you achieve a breakthrough in your health today. Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed into the swing of things? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with Zelda Speaks for your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit zeldaspeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moments tip of the day. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. Well, thanks for listening.
Grand Rising. And thank you for joining us back here on The Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network TV show, which airs Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19. The topic of the show today is police misconduct. What can we do to stop it? We were blessed with the presence of our very own Chicagoan, Miss Julia Kline from the 2nd District. She's the counselor for the district, and she was here for the first half hour. And now we will be joined the second half hour. And let me remind you that after the show, all of the updates will be on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. And you can scroll down there and get all the information that you need. But I want to show you the video of our students from the Betty Shabazz International Charter School. But before I do that, let me bring on the executive producer of the show, and that would be our very own Naima Latif. And we'll soon be taking your calls, so don't go anywhere. We see you, 706-202 and 312-632. Grand Rising, my sister. How are you this morning?
Oh, I am fantastic. And how are you this morning?
I'm wonderful now that I have you here. Not that I already wasn't wonderful, but you just made it more wonderful. Thank you so very much. And it is because of you that we're having the success that we're having, not only on the Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network, but at the Betty Shabazz International Charter School, in which this is our first class for teaching podcast training. And this is a sample of that we'll let you see. Podcast training number 10. And these are the students from last week. That is the intro for the Higher Learning Network TV show. They have their own intro. You'll get a chance to see them up close and professional. These young people are hot. Are they not, Naima?
Oh, yes, they are professional. Yes.
Already, and they've only had 10 weeks of training.
Yes.
You're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network.
Carrier conversation.
Yeah.
And this is the latest group that was just past Wednesday. We'll be back there this Wednesday. They brought.
Hi, I'm Martinell.
Hi, I'm Leandra.
You are watching the Betty Shabazz podcast training number 10 on the Higher Learning Network.
Here at Betty Shabazz, we address our elders as Mama and Papa.
Our guest for today is Mama Sandy.
She is our guest for today, and she is the founder of RelevantStudios.com.
Yes, she is. And when she will be joining us today?
She is joining us at the moment, as we speak.
Okay, great. Oh. Anyway, are you excited for today's podcast?
Now,
Yes, I'm very excited because I've never talked to a CEO of a company before, and I'm really excited to see what she has to say, and I'm really excited to ask the question.
Okay, so that's just a sample of what you can expect, and you can go and see them on the show on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. These children are phenomenal. I am just so excited. I just didn't think I'd be this excited, Naima, about teaching children, and you just have the skills to just mellow me out when I get a little hype. Because they got me all hyped up, and it's like, okay, so you are, you just calm down.
You know, children energy is different than adult energy.
Yes.
When we understand that what they're being is just themselves, so then we can kind of relax when they're a bit high energy, because they're enthusiastic, they're excited, they're growing and learning, and so we can help them manage their energy by directing that energy towards learning something, practicing something, speaking, saying something. As long as you keep them moving and doing something, they'll be okay.
Right.
We make the mistake as adults a lot of times, expecting children to sit like corpses, still and quiet and doing nothing. And that is not normal behavior for a child. Children need to be able.
We got way too much energy for that.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful for their energy, but I don't need it all the time.
This is why we learn to channel it to something, because
yes,
the energy that they have, it's a sign of their high intelligence.
Yes.
And they're seeking to learn. So we're excited to give them something to learn. And they enjoy
that they want to learn too. Yeah.
Yes, they enjoy seeing themselves mastering this craft and realizing that they have the ability to influence thought by the things that they say. And that's empowering for young people. We want them to feel empowered so that they know they have the ability to shape the world. They have the ability to change things that they see are not in their best interest. And we help them by giving them the feeling of being heard, to listen to their suggestions, to listen to their observations, and to acknowledge them and praise them when they have shown that they are really paying attention and learning and mastering this. So it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to watch them develop and evolve.
And they are just simply phenomenal. I have never seen 7th and 8th graders. They know so much already. It's like I'm learning from them. That's one thing I learned as a teacher. You think you're teaching, you're learning.
Yes.
Teach
when
me.
a teacher realizes that's when you become a great teacher, when you realize you are learning and they're actually enhancing your understanding. So that's why I always enjoy being in the atmosphere of young people. It's a whole new perspective in life. We have to remember these are young people who've grown up in the age of cell phones and internet. So being able to instantly communicate with everybody, it's a normal thing for them. Right. Being able to master a switchboard, a computer, it's normal for them. Knowing how to figure out how a smartphone can do all these different things, can do video and create audio recordings and all of these things that is part of their growing up environment. So they master it so easily. And sometimes people, 50 and 60 plus years of age and 70 plus years, we are intimidated by our cell phone because we know it does stuff, but we don't know how to do it. And a young person can pick it up. Oh, here we go. And they got it instantly. So
that is so funny, and it is so true. Because I'm in there with the other phone I got, for the higher learning network. I'm in there trying to figure it out, and it's like, Mama Zelda, here, you just do this, do that. I was like, oh, okay,
yeah, like, oh, okay. And so this is why the world is in such good hands. If we just treat our children with kindness, they will blossom. Just like if you've ever taken care of plants, if you pay them attention, you give them water when they need it, you give them sunlight when they need it, and you create a pleasant atmosphere, the plants will blossom and flourish. It's the same thing with our children. We have to shine the light on them. We have to give them an atmosphere where they can blossom and flourish and feel safe and be nourished when they're seeking nourishment, whether it's mental or physical nourishment, and they'll blossom. So the way we treat them is so critical to their development. They're very simple. It's like a plant. You wouldn't want to, knock a plant over it because they're going to go into shock. Well, it's the same thing with our children. When we knock them around verbally or physically, we're destroying them. We're throwing them into shock. So we have to change the environment that we're exposing our children to if we want them to flourish in the way we'd like them to flourish. So I'm really glad that you've introduced this topic today in addressing the whole policing issue. Our children, unfortunately, are growing up with a sense of fear and dread over the people who are supposed to be making them feel safe. And that has to be corrected. And that means we have to look at how did we get to this point where people that we're designating a portion of our tax dollars to pay their salaries so that they can make us feel safe and secure in our environment. How did it get to a point where our children are feeling terrorized by this group of people? That can't continue.
No, it can't.
So I'd like to point out just a couple of things where you all were talking about the consent decree, and a lot of people may not know what that is. So I want to just be able to share it with our listening audience so we know what it is that we have agreed to do. What is a consent decree? A consent decree is a court order that establishes an enforceable plan for sustainable reform. Typically, consent decrees are detailed documents that include specific requirements and deadlines for action. Police consent decrees in other cities around the country have required an independent monitor. The independent monitor needs to be approved by a federal judge. Once a federal judge approves the independent monitor, that monitor is charged with measuring the police department's progress by making sure the police department implements the changes required in the consent decree. The independent monitor reports to the federal judge. The federal judge oversees the police department's compliance with the consent decree and holds the department and the city accountable for satisfying the consent decree's requirements. So the position that your guest has, that's that independent monitor that we've created that's supposed to be overlooking what the police should be doing. So what does the consent decree require? The consent decree requires the Chicago Police Department and the City of Chicago to reform training, policies, and practices in a number of important areas, such as use of force, community policing, impartial policing, training, accountability, officer wellness, data and information systems, and more. The goal is to ensure that the CPD, Chicago Police Department, performs constitutional and effective policing that keeps both community members and officers safe and restores the community's trust in the department. So I wanted to just share that so that our audience understands what it is that this police board is supposed to be doing to ensure that our police are performing properly. Now, one thing I'd like to point out, when we are honest about what we've done and what exists, then we can fix it. One of the biggest influencers of the corruption in the police department is the quotas that officers are given for picketing and arrests. Because if an officer is supposed to show that they're out on the street doing their job, and at the end of the month they need to have a certain amount of tickets written or a certain amount of arrests made, that greatly incentivizes them to be dishonest. And it is known that they will go into the low income areas and do more ticket writing in terms of traffic violations or parking violations, and they do more arrest. And even we've seen how they will provoke people to anger so they can then arrest them.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
why are they doing that? Well, if they've been given a quota, and please, the police department, do not lie and say you don't do it, because you do. That's the problem. You have your officers really out there fundraising, because that's what I call it when you're writing tickets so that you can make a certain quota for the month so you can look like you're working.
Thank you.
When you create that standard that they have to meet, then you motivate them to do things that are dishonest so that they can meet that quota so they can keep their job, or they can get a promotion or some type of recognition of doing a good job because they have generated a certain amount of income through their tickets and arrests. This is not keeping the city safe. It's creating a constant state of agitation in people, irritation, anger, frustration, stress. How is that keeping us safe? It is not. So the city has to develop some honest ways of generating revenue and not doing it through the police department. That's number one. So let's be honest about what we're doing. If you look at your budget and you have a certain percentage that's expected to come from the police department's activities, you need to fix that. That's a city problem. It is. And so, in addition to that, you have officers that are at a high level of paranoia because of what they've seen. And we know the mass media highlights Black males or Hispanic males as dangerous. So if you're already, and now Black females and Hispanic females as dangerous. So if in your mind you've been programmed to see people who are minding their own business as a potential threat, and you're walking up to them and supposedly a routine traffic stop, ready to pull your gun out of your holster and shoot them for reaching for their driver's license, there's something wrong with that.
Definitely wrong.
Now, whose fault is it that you've been programmed to think that way? Well, let's take responsibility for us continuing to reinforce the image of every Black male being dangerous. You know how stressful that is. And we know because we see Black males all the time. How stressful is that when you might just accidentally miss a traffic stop and a police light is flashing behind you and you are literally thinking you might lose your life? No one should live under that kind of stress. So that's what we're creating. We're creating a society where people are living in fear of each other. And it's a well-founded fear because people have been brutalized.
Every day.
Every day.
All day.
And now, on the other hand, because I have a lot of friends that are police officers, and they live in a constant state of stress because they do face people who are doing dishonest things, who are armed and dangerous because they're carrying firearms. I have a friend who, and I may have told the story before, I'm not sure if it was on this show or somewhere else, but he's a police officer, young Black male police officer, and he pulled over a young Black male because he didn't have a license plate on his car. So he, pulls him over and said, well, where's your license plate? So the young guy, and fits the typical look that we've been given as, dangerous, out of control Black male. He had dreadlocks in his hair, dark skin, all that stereotype that's in a lot of policemen's minds. And so the young guy says, I got my plates. And he goes to look at it. He goes reaching under his seat. Well, my police officer friend, immediately he pulls out his gun. He's pointing at this guy's head and said, move, don't move. And the guy, he actually was pulling out his license plate that he had under his seat. He was trying to tell him, I haven't had a chance to put it on the car yet, And he looks up and he's got a gun in his face. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm just showing you my license plate. And my police officer friend was just so frazzled that he almost blew this guy's head off out of his fear that this man was reaching for a gun. I mean, of course, he was just distraught the whole day, that happened. But he said, don't ever do that. Don't ever make a sudden move. And the young guy who pulled out his license plate from under his car, he was like, "But I'm just showing you my license plate." He had no idea that the officer is in this constant state of heightened alert
Mm-hmm.
and fear for his life, and already programmed that young males are dangerous because there are some young people out there that are carrying weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not all.
not all. So you have this dynamic going on where everybody's fearing everybody and everybody's trying to figure out who are the dangerous people, and then we have this image of who the dangerous people are. So now let's look at what is motivating our young people to be carrying weapons. We have a very strong, flourishing drug trafficking industry. And we know that we've created or allowed to be created an industry of organized crime where people are battling for drug selling turf and everything else. You've got that going on. Then you've got the bullying going on where people are afraid of getting beat up by whether it's a gang member or just somebody who's a bully. People are afraid of being robbed. So a lot of people feel like I must carry this gun to protect myself. You have a lot of people out there conceal and carry permits for that purpose. And you have the gun sellers who wish to profit from this situation. I participated a few years ago. Well, actually, I was covering for the news. Reverend Jesse Jackson and Father Michael Flager went out to Chuck's Gun Shop, which is in Indiana, but it is the highest gun sellers of guns.
I remember hearing about that. Yep.
And they were making the point that we've got this large inflow of guns into the city. You have people who maybe come to the shop and they buy 10 guns. Okay, you're not. Why do you need 10 guns? It's to sell on the street. So you don't have a way to trace where they came from in terms of them being registered to a certain person. They're not registered, they're sold undercover. So you have all of these guns floating around. You have all this fear that's been generated by real situations, people feeling like they got to protect their safety. And then you have the police who are hypersensitive to the fact that so many people have guns and feeling like a certain type of person is possibly armed and could shoot them. So all of this fear that creates the condition that we see, and adding to it and exacerbating it, is the underlying requirement that police officers make a certain amount of arrests and write a certain amount of tickets to generate a amount of revenue for the city.
And that has to stop.
That has to stop.
As Julia said, it's been 5 years and the numbers have not gone down. And why is that? Because we as a community have not demanded it.
Absolutely.
And she left us with solutions on how to do it.
Absolutely.
All of that will be placed on my blog. The lines are lit up. We got to take our last commercial break and get to those calls. 706-202. We're headed your way. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. Right after this break, we'll be right back. Okay.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solutions Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet Radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platforms to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insights, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to onaireverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Join our global peace movement. Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light transcends culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society. HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin-Suk Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773-580-1501 and be a part of the movement for world peace. Email us chicagohwpl@gmail.com.
Do you worry about finances, family, health, jobs, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answered yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down-to-earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, promote your product or service, or just make extra money. Take advantage of the deal of the day. Go to zeldaspeaks.com or call 312-409-6619. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. That's zeldaspeaks.com or 312-409-6619. Stop worrying today. Visit zeldaspeaks.com.
Grand Rising, and thank you for joining us back here for the last 20 minutes of the show. You are watching the Higher Learning Network TV show on the Female Solution podcast. And if you just tuned in, the topic of today is police misconduct. What can we do to stop it? We were blessed with the presence of Julia Kline from the 2nd District Counselor for all the abuse that's going on in the world, and she gave us some words of wisdom and things, how we can get involved and stop talking about it to the abuse, about it to each other, and show up at these meetings. So that information will be on my podcast, on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. And as you're looking at the blog right here, if you can see the professional podcast virtual training, even though it says virtual, I think we need to do it in person. For those who are out of town, we'll have to do it in virtual. But for in-house, what are some of the things that our students can expect? Adult students, not only youth, but adults. Now, what can our and be sure to mention Jackie's Elevate Cafe.
Oh, yes.
And then we're going to the phone lines.
Yes, we will. Well, of course, podcasting has become a very powerful way of getting out a message to a global community because it is radio through the internet, and the internet is worldwide as opposed to a radio broadcast that is local and within the confines of a particular city or region. So because it requires not only the skill of speaking and holding an audience captive with your conversation,
you also need to manage the mechanics, the computer programs that make it possible for you to speak into your camera, speak into a microphone, operate a switchboard, take callers, the things that we're doing now. And so we show you how to do these things. And also, in addition to the mechanics of it, also some of the ways that you can benefit from social media and all of the connections that you can make through your social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the ways that you can send your message out, the ways you can communicate with people live in real time all across the world. We've done it. And to also influence thought. This is such a powerful time to be a part of the mass media movement because mass media has been made possible for the average person to participate in and influence. So there's nothing that the major TV or radio networks have that you also do not have at this point right in your hands. And we teach you how to master it.
How to master it, not just be on here all willy-nilly and looking all crazy because you got dead air. You don't know what that is, but we show you how to. I mean, we've got what between us 30, 40 years of broadcast
absolutely
communication skills. So we're the pros, and we can teach you a few things that they won't teach you in ordinarily school. Okay, so you'll be ahead of the game. So we just wanted to share that with you. Go to zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com and check it out, and then go to higherlearningnetwork.org/resources. And that information will be on the blog too. It's 8:45. Let's get to the phones. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. And I do believe that is our very own Baba Kwame Sunhorse. Grand Rising, Baba. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yes.
I'm very honored, and Grand Rising and Assalamu alaikum to my sister Naima.
Yes. Wow.
In the stolen, I just returned from South Carolina, but I just sit here in the stolen land of the Muskogee Creek in this forest and look at how we're building communities, because forest is the first community. And we are looking at how do we bring this forest into these concrete jungles. How do we bring the natural element of human beings that we are looking at? How do we police ourselves? And I thank Naima and the Betty Chavez school, charter school, is because we're starting with the children and allowing them to see that they have an opportunity to take the techno-spiritual. And it's kind of what Todd stands for, people offering decisions. People offering decisions.
Okay.
People now can offer decisions as how they see the world in which and how they would like to see the world in which they're going to be adults in. And so it's giving them the tools to make the choices, to make the change. Because they see what is going on in the community in that city and all of the things that are being done. And it was very important that you brought that councilwoman on, because she's in the rooms where the decisions are made about people's lives. And so it's important. That's why I was sharing with you the part about the Israelis, because that's what the news is. But the United States has been sending their police forces to be trained as armies. And this is what we're seeing that's going on in Atlanta here. They're making a camp to do training. They have forces there in Chicago where, you know, the people are under siege in essence. They're under siege. And the thing that we have to look at is that they could do better if there was better things that were given to them, or there were opportunities, because economic poverty is a tool for crime. Economic poverty is a tool for crime. And when you look at how they have built this system of government and being able to say a crime is a slavery nor neither slavery nor indentured servitude, except if you're duly convicted of a crime. So you make the environment criminally possible for people to have lack and to be as homeless and on the streets with no place to be in a space to put their stuff in. So we've got to make some choices because we have to give the children the tools. These young middle school children are the next generation of adults. They're on their way to becoming adolescents. Adolescents that's going to change the system. Adolescents that's going to be the change for the system.
Yes.
The system is broke. The system is broken. And we have done our part in dealing with getting up to this point. Now, what are we helping them to do? And that was the part of having a podcast. They can use this techno-spiritual to reconnect the people back to the spiritual.
I totally agree. Absolutely. There has to be a standard of human behavior that we all agree that we will strive to meet. We cannot have a society of an us against them, the good versus evil, and everybody seeing everybody else as the evil and themselves as the good. We cannot survive if we continue this state of conflict. This is not sustainable, and that's why it's imploding. And when we realize that the way we've been doing things is not working, rather than us keep training people to keep doing the same things the same way and expecting different results, we will change the entire system. We'll change the entire perspective of why we're doing what we're doing. Now, of course, we've talked about the fact that the police system itself evolved out of the slave patrol, which was intended to keep people in slavery. It was intended to capture people who were traveling the roads without the knowledge or permission of their so-called owners, and to capture them and send them back. Or if they didn't have any papers showing where they so-called belong, to basically have them confined until they could be sold on the market. So a lot of people who were free people ended up getting sold into slavery through that policing system known as the slave patrol. So you had the modern day policing system evolving out of that. And that's part of the problem of that mindset, that you're driving along and if you get stopped, if you don't show that you have a driver's license, you're not showing your papers, you can be arrested or fined or ticketed or jailed. Why are we needing to carry ID to verify who we are? And why are people feeling like they have a right to demand some type of verification of who we are? It's the same slave patrol mindset. That has to be eliminated. And I think that as we break this thing down in terms of how we're treating each other as human beings and realizing this is not the standard of behavior we're going to accept anymore, we'll abolish a lot of these practices that are adding to this ongoing conflict between the police department and the citizens. We need to redefine the purpose of the police. That's step one. What are you really doing? And people who are minding their own business don't need to be policed. So most of the policing doesn't even need to occur.
And it only continues to occur because we allow it to.
Absolutely.
And if we want something different, we got to do something outrageous. And that's like stop talking about it and be about it. Join the movement, so to speak, because if we don't do it, who will?
Absolutely.
And we say we want to do this for our children. So what are we waiting for?
Right. And our job as parents is to teach our children to be self-managed. If you don't learn to control yourself, you will always be controlled by someone else. Mm-hmm. And the ideal is for you to manage yourself, manage your own emotions, manage your own anger, manage your own responses to things so that people are not feeling like they have to call somebody to come and control you.
Right.
We can all do that.
Because we're out of order and we don't have to be. It is 8:53. Let's get another call. Baba Kwame, I will leave your mic open, but we're going to go to 312-632. You're live on the Female Solution, Grand Rising. Hi, who's this?
This is Normal for sending me part 2 of the housing piece, which evolved into what I wrote a couple of hours ago, which is an affidavit for 13 November 2023. Please bear with me for the next minute as I read it verbatim. I, Andrew C.M. Nelson Bay, declare that alluvial ownership of residential private property as your singular primary residence at any given time is a human right that shall be honored and enforced as a matter of law, the National Reparations Proclamation primarily for Asiatic Indigenous American descendants of chattel slavery and native genocide, written by one Andrew C.M. Nelson Bay, in whose capacity as mayor of Chicago Territory, Illinois Republic, is that legal document that articulates what is required to enable federal subsidies earmarked for housing the recent influx of denizens into Cook County, Illinois, and throughout the country, most of whom are subject to being summarily deported upon re-election of President Trump next year, a fact that I have reckoned with. There shall be an inventory of all available units in Cook County Land Bank Authority, and I shall consult with Housing Judge Leonard Murray to ascertain how best to occupy my single family house at 9110 Paxton to really put my own house in order. So I'll ask Your Majesty Rajai Elohim of, Colorado to marry me and move in with me if she wants to via lifetime partnership contract, signed Andrew C.M. Nelson Bay. And that was just a thought.
Okay.
Well, Andrew, I invite you to join us to listen in on Wednesday. We're going to be continuing that discussion on housing and put forth a plan. We're looking also to have a few of our elected officials join us because everybody can participate in the solution, whether you are someone who has space to offer, if you are a person who is willing to finance the space that is to be made available to the unhoused, or if you are currently unhoused and are willing to agree to share in the maintenance of the space that you are being allowed for a year to occupy and to conform to the safe and secure behaviors in a cooperative housing environment. So we're going to be talking about that on Wednesday and looking forward to presenting a solution that the citizens can make happen, even if the government does not participate. But we hope that the government does do its share in providing some incentives for this. So we'll be talking about that on this Wednesday. So we invite you to listen in on Wednesday on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show.
Yes, I shall participate this Wednesday, and thank you for your invitation.
And thank you, Andrew Nelson Bay, a longtime caller and supporter of the Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network's homeless program, because he's always donating those delicious bean pies. Yeah, I do have. I'm guilty. I did taste one of them. Yes, I did, and it lasted more than a day. Because if you know my issue with diabetes, I have to be very mindful of that, so I don't eat the whole pie now. I did
eat a whole one. I must confess, I ate the whole pie. I kept asking my mother, "Would you like a slice?" She said, "Well, maybe later." So I said, "Well, I'll have one." "Well, you like a slice?" "Well, maybe later." "Well, I'll have another one." Next thing I know, I'd eaten the whole pie. So
because it's so easy to eat, because it's so good. But are we going into after show today?
I think I have to leave for. Well, let's see. I don't know. Do you want another 15 minutes?
Yeah, we can do 15 minutes.
Okay.
If you're on the switchboard and you want to talk, press 1 right now, and we'll come back to you. Hold on as we play our ending.
Our blog talk audience to get cut off at 9. If you want to call in now. You got 2 minutes. Like, get on the switchboard 515-605-9325. Otherwise, write in your comments on our Facebook and YouTube channel, the Higher Learning Network.
All right.
That's www.naimahlattif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China,
Sheshe.
India, Zanzibar, Japan,
Arigato.
Korea, Kamsamida,
Kamsamida.
Russia,
Spativa.
Germany, Danke, Poland,
Jean Couillon.
France, Merci,
Merci.
Spain, Gracias,
Gracias.
Italy, Grazie,
Gracias.
Egypt, Shukran,
Shukran.
Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Niabonga, Senegal, Jerez, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya, Afghanistan, Tashakur, Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.
We are officially in the after show with Naima Latif. If you're looking on the screen, you'll see higherlearningnetwork.org. All the information that we share, all you have to do is go to the higherlearningnetwork.org and click on this Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and all that other good stuff. So we even have a Pinterest spot up there. So be sure and go and check that out. I forgot to say happy birthday, born day to Whoopi Goldberg. Today's her birthday.
One of my favorite actresses.
Yes, one of our favorite actresses.
Yeah.
Happy Earth Day, birthday, born day to our very own Whoopi Goldberg. And remember the song, Can We Talk for a Minute? I want to know your name. I know I can't sing, but my heart is in it. Kevin Tamble. I said it wrong. Kevin Tamble. Today his birthday too.
Kevin. You're right. Yes.
And before I forget, let us remind the audience about Shopping with Zoe on December 5th.
Yes. We are so excited that we are launching our own home shoppers show with Shop with Zoe, pronounced Zoe, Z-O-E. Shop with Zoe. And you know, the exciting thing about this is that once again, we're expanding our horizons, reaching out across the waters, giving ourselves a chance to learn about the many products that can make our lives easier and bring them into our homes and our lives. And we'll even learn how many of us who like to be entrepreneurs can make some money. So we want you to tune on in 7 a.m. right here on the Female Solution and Shop with Zoe. So we'll have our own Zoe Ma, international businesswoman, guide us through the process of placing those orders of some of the very helpful products that are coming out of China. And we'll also give you a chance to perhaps even introduce some things that you may have that you want to sell. So we're giving us a chance to circulate the dollars, and that's what makes a healthy economy. So get ready to shop with Zoe on Tuesday morning starting
December 5th. So mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars, absolutely. And another thing we want to let you know coming up in December, where we are launching our in-person Female Solution podcast on the fifth Saturday of every month, where we will be at the Elevate Cafe live in Chicago and giving our local listeners a chance to gather in a wonderful atmosphere. The Elevate Cafe is at 73rd, right off Jeffrey, and it's a nice, comfortable, peaceful location where we can have conversations about the issues that are affecting our lives as we reach out to our global family online on the Female Solution radio TV show. And we'll also enjoy some nice, healthy teas and treats that we can share and enjoy while we have those conversations about improving our interpersonal relationships, improving our community relationships, and improving life as we learn how to interact and make a difference. So look out for that as well. We'll be giving you more information on that so those who are in and around the Chicagoland area can join us.
That's going to be exciting too. We were there one day and it was like, okay, this can work. I love it. And then there's a restaurant next door, and there's also another store next door. We got those moringa seeds. I could not believe. Google moringa seeds and see what they can do for you. So when you come by the store, come by the Elevate Cafe, you can go next door and you'll see there's a lot of benefits that will be included in this experience. So
we'll have Jackie Brooks of the Elevate Cafe on soon to give you an insight on what you can expect coming up in 2024. It's going to be exciting. So, yes, look out for it.
All righty. Well, we've got 10 minutes here to continue with the after show.
Well, you know, I know a lot of people are really distressed with what they see happening, but we're in the birth pains of what's about to be birthed as a new society. And for those of us who have given birth, those last few moments, that's when it's really painful.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in that last phase of the birthing pains of the new earth that's to be birthed. And what we're going to see is a new society where people know how to treat each other with kindness. So we have to go through this process of seeing what's wrong. We have to see it. It has to be made visible so we know it has to change. We need to see what has to be corrected. It has to come to the surface. All those things that have been hidden, like your guest was talking about before we had the portable cameras that everybody's holding right now. Everybody right now. So many things were happening that we did not know about. So much corruption and abuse that was going on that never got reported. And now that everybody's got their own private video camera, we're seeing the horrors in our society. They have to come to the surface so that we can transform them. And we can, as a collective body of humanity, choose to live in a society of peace. We have to make that choice. And we make that choice by deciding we don't want to keep experiencing the opposite. It's not enjoyable for a police officer to leave their house every day, leave their loved ones every day, and think, I may not come back home. Someone could kill me on the job. That's a horrible feeling to have when you leave. How many of us leave home to go to work thinking we might not come back? That's not something that we should want to continue. So how do we make a society safe? Every single person has to be transformed. One of my favorite quotes from the book Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh is the quote from God. Every act is an act of self-definition. So who are you? Everything you do is defining who you are. If you're a kind person, you're speaking to people kindly. If you're a rude person, you're speaking to people rudely. If you're a compassionate person, you're understanding, you're sharing, you're offering help. If you're a mean-spirited person, then you're condemning the person who gets money to pay for something and you're letting them starve, you're letting them sleep out in the cold because you're lacking in compassion. Right. So if you want to be the person who is loving, kind, compassionate, considerate, then you will do the things that kind of person does. We have laws in this society that are mean-spirited and cruel. And the people who uphold those laws,
Is that who you want to be? Someone who lets people freeze to death in sub-zero weather because they don't have money? Is that who you want to be as a soul? So when we transform the society, it's not one group of people that's wrong and another that's right. Everybody has to raise their level of existence and be the person who is an expression of the divine. God is only love, not meanness, not hurt, not pain, but love. So that means everybody has to raise their own level of awareness to be that person so that no one has to fear you. No one has to carry a weapon against you. No one has to bar their doors and lock themselves in because they fear your theft of their things. Similarly, no one should have to take from you because you won't share. You have over an abundance of what you need and you're hoarding it, and you're seeing people hungry and cold and starving and thirsty, and you won't share. So what do you force them to do but take from you by force? If you have it and you withhold it, and it's not yours to withhold, because everything we have belongs to the earth. We're just here to use it while we're in these physical bodies, and then we leave. So no one has a right to withhold what belongs to all of us. It's a mindset. It's a state of awareness, a state of being, a state of consciousness that we all have to rise to. That's what makes us live in a society that's safe. At some point, there will be no police because there will be no need for police or policing because everyone will be self-managed. That is the society that we are evolving to. We got to go through these birthing pains so that we see the things that need to change. That's why we empower the young people to be able to express what they see and to express what they desire, because they're the ones who are going to usher in this new society based on them choosing not to repeat our same mistakes. They're going to choose to create something different because what we created is painful and hurtful. So we're in the final phases of giving birth to the new earth. And childbirth is painful those last few minutes. And I'm going to tell you, I had my daughter at 3:40 in the morning. And at 3:15, my obstetrician, I'm in the midst of my most painful labor pains. And he said to me, "What time do you want to have this baby?" And I said, "I want to have this baby at 3:40. 5 more minutes is all I can take." And he said, "Okay." And at 3:40, I finally pushed her out and she was born.
Wow. I didn't know that you could do that. You're in so much pain.
I don't know if you could either, but yeah, and you know, if it hurts enough, you decide, okay, I'm done. I'm ready for this new beginning to happen right now. I've had enough pain. So that's where we're at now. We've had enough pain. We're ready to give birth to this baby. And so this is every act that is upsetting to us, that's making us angry. We're saying, I'm ready to give birth to this baby. I'm ready to birth this new earth. I'm ready to create this new society where there is only love and peace and joy and no more suffering. I'm ready. That's what we're saying. So let's choose to make it happen. We can do that.
Because we have the power to do it. Yes. We can't wait on anybody else.
That's right.
Because it's not going to happen.
That's right.
So if you want something different, you
Mike's still open.
Yes, Bob, I'll go right ahead.
Okay, I just sent you a YouTube, but it's a book. It's called Dumbing Down of American Schools.
Oh.
And this woman was part of the committee that Ronald Reagan did in restructuring the educational system. And we need to understand what has been done in order to see what we can undo. What has been done, so we can understand what we must undo. And these are the tools that we're going to have to pass down to the next generation. and being able to give them tools, because they come with their purpose. Only thing we give them are the tools that's needed for them to fulfill their mission as to what, like Naima said, push her daughter out. That means is that in that part of that child being birthed, the woman's body goes into contraction. A woman makes a contract with the child when it's coming out of her womb. And that contract is to provide them the necessary things for their mission on this earth. The contract, the contraction, is the contract that the mother gives in that part of struggle, of going through that birth pain. Because struggle is the highest form of education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, as always, Baba Kwame is right on time, and I will be sharing that information on my blog on zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. I want to thank you for staying here with us today and for sharing this information. Thank you, Baba Kwame Sunhorse. Thank you, Naima Latif. Yeah. Please join us tomorrow morning. But until then, go to my blog. That's where the updates are, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. And be sure and come back here tomorrow morning with self-care with Jody Susan on the Female Solution. And we'll do it all over again. You think today's show was good? Wait till you see tomorrow. Yeah. See you then. Stay on purpose, stay in power, and stay tuned for more of Higher Learning on the Female.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Then book your free 30-minute consultation with Zelda Speaks, the Mindfulness Stress Relief Coach, at higherlearningnetwork.org. Thanks for sharing. Love you on Windy City Live. Yes, we do. Tell us, how did all this happen? How did this come about?
Well, I play me. I play Val Warner in Chirac, which is really cool. So when people see this movie, they are literally seeing Val, and I am a reporter in the movie.
We talk about the violence, but what can we do personally?
I think we got to be engaged, and I think engaged in a number of things. In our block, in our home, in our neighborhood, we got to be engaged. We got to fight the issues. We got to fight a government that is abandoned, whole communities on the south and the west side. We got to fight a governor who's cut out every youth employment program, who's cut out violence prevention programs, who's abandoned our communities and the poor and the vulnerable. And I think we got to reach out to our brothers on the street and love them and respect them and help them, not just demonize them.
I'll just say like this. First of all, give you the history of coming to Chicago and telling my jokes as a young cat. I'm 37 now. I started about almost 15 years ago. Elroy taking me under his wing, letting me do some jokes here and there for the radio stations and all that kind of stuff.
I learned that no matter what you do and how much of a genuine heart you have, and if you're coming from a good place, people are going to criticize if they don't agree with what you're doing.
Yo, what's up? It's your man Tony Schofield from 106.3 Chicago's R&B, and you are watching Men on Higher Learning. Now, I used to hang around with some men that was into some higher learning. It just wasn't that kind of higher learning, but I got myself together now, okay?
What is it that you do in your quiet time, in your meditation time, that allows you to bring us the films that you do?
I sit courtside in Madison Square Garden, world's most famous arena.
And you're watching CTV on the Higher Learning Network. Yeah.
Okay, she does not want to play.
It's been hard to stay silent with all that's going on. In my mind, I get it. I hear what's being said from all corners of our earth. I get it when you're controlled by what you're thinking. In our heads, we hear, if you fight me, I'll fight you harder. If you curse me, I'll curse you and yours even stronger. That is how our mind thinks. Speaking without listening to the spirit. It is a mind that is not connected to the soul. The spirit knows that fighting harder, cursing stronger, hating longer will never end. It just gets easier to use a knife, a gun, a drone, or a bomb. All in the name of blood spilled on the ground to leave more lives buried in the ground, never reaching higher ground. To any of the leaders that feel that this is the only way, I ask you to be brave enough to say in your way is a way to World War III. Am I the only one that sees this? I stand up with peace. I stand up with love. That's who I am. That is what God made me of. I stand down on war, and I stand down on hate. We cannot let revenge be our unimaginable fate.